You are something else. She is something else.
That's a person who doesn't know how to dance.
But, you know, maybe we get like 4,000 million followers by you being, by you acting a plumb fool. Can you act a fool for the people a little bit? Come on, man.
I won't expose my true goofy self.
Your goofiness. Well, I just learned that you were goofy like recently. I just learned. I didn't know. I had no idea you was goofy.
You're kidding me.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome
What's
back
up?
to my Marriage is Dope podcast. Once again, I am your host. I'm not saying it's your boy. That belongs to our brother. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying what up. I'm not saying none of that stuff. That belongs to somebody. It's licensed,
it's trademark
to the great Eric Thomas, Eric the hip hop preacher. Yo, he preached a crazy fire sermon this past Saturday. What?
We gotta do a plug. Forward, y'all gotta be there.
What? Y'all gotta go to. Listen, if y'all just kind of if you've been on another planet and you don't know who E.T. the hip hop preacher is, he is considered to be the #1 motivational speaker in the world, speaking to corporations, sports teams, colleges, high schools, detention centers, jails. He does it all and has done it all his entire career. And he earlier this year or late last year, he decided to do this thing as an extension of his ministry, APOC, a place of change ministry in Lansing, Michigan. And he decided to come to Atlanta because he has so many people here. His kids were here all the time, and they needed a place that they felt could feed them spiritually. And then his vast community, the people that follow him and love him. The lines for the meet and greets are always crazy long. You got to get there early.
Yeah, starts at 10:30. And you can find it on Jeremy Anderson, because Jeremy Anderson is a part of that. You can find it on Jeremy Anderson and E.T.'s stories.
Yes.
Like where it's going to be, because I don't know that. I don't remember.
We just, listen, I was so blessed and convicted about
have mercy.
How I approach my life, how I approach being a husband, how I approach being a business owner. And it was, the sermon was crazy. And here's the unique part. This is the beautiful, like, you know, I don't care what you believe, right? But the Holy Spirit is real because it just so happened we have, Shirley has a friend, lifelong friend that is visiting from out of town. And it just so happened that it seemed like the sermon was speaking to her. And then it seemed like the sermon was speaking to me. And then it seemed like the sermon was speaking to her. And then so many other people, because so many other people responded to appeal for living a different kind of life. And so it's called Forward with E.T., with ETA, with APOC Ministries, E.T. the hip hop preacher, all of that. Search all of that. Search all of that. So, hey, I'm your host, Shannon Austin. Some call me Big Shan. Some call me Coach Shan. Some call me Coach. Some call me Unc. Some call me Bro. And I am joined by, you have to wait. You have to be patient.
I thought like
Woman
the DJ
of God
would be like,
no, I didn't. The scratch didn't.
Scratch.
I didn't ziggy.
You didn't.
I'm trying to ziggy, and you should ziggy bucket, and my
like the double dutch. I jumped in at
right.
early.
I'm saying my co-host is
your coach, Big Cheryl. Some call me Big Jersey. What's up?
AKA Big Jersey. Come on, Jersey in the building.
You know.
I call her Babe. We've called each other Babe from when I can't remember how long. We have another friend of hers, and she would just be like, Babe, Babe, Babe. Y'all always this Babe, Babe, Babe.
Hey.
It's been Babe, though.
You're my babe.
And you're my babe. Come on, sweetie. Come on. This ain't even fake. Good stuff. Listen, man. Listen. The DMs is blowing up. Make sure that you standing by for the Q&A segment. Ask Coach Shannon and Shirley.
Yes.
Oh, the DMs are going crazy. And look, we were at an amazing live event. Last night for our date. It was it was her date night idea. Y'all, listen, Instagram. I did not want to go. Period.
He didn't want to be there.
I did not want to be there.
I'm talking to TikTok.
It was. I appreciate it. It was unfiltered. I don't want to jack it up.
Intimate conversations, unfiltered.
And it was hosted by Coach Ken. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even know who Coach Ken was. I found out that I got a brother from another mother. Phenomenal coach. Yeah. Amazing energy. Yeah. Really got the crowd involved. We was hype up in there, y'all. And I was trying to stay out the mix, but I ended up in the mix. And they're doing a tour, and it was amazing. It was amazing. What did you think about?
Oh, I thought it was great, and I actually was going to say some because the topic today is about. What did you turn? I know what it's about, but what was the actual subject line you put?
Helping versus partnering.
No, it's about roommates, but.
Right.
So, how to not be roommates.
How to be partners, not roommates. Yeah.
And so I'm just
because a lot of couples are feeling like they're living with roommates.
Couples are struggling, as we all know.
There's no
right. We've been there, done it, and listen. Sometimes we'll still find ourselves in a place where it's just like, dang, I really feel like a roommate right now. Like,
right. The distance between
us, right? It is so noticeable. And really, I can go on record to say every couple we talk to who come to us with challenges, that is a challenge. They may not know that. They may not say it that way.
Yes, ma'am.
But when we talk to them and get the details, that's what it is.
That's what they feel like.
And so we felt that it was so important to have this conversation today because we want to help you to stop feeling like roommates and really feel like partnership.
And go ahead.
No, and I just wanted to commend you, right? So one of the things is date nights. Right? And listen, the stuff we're saying to y'all is so simple. It's not that you hadn't heard it before, but for some reason you're just not locked in on what you've heard. And I want to commend Shannon, and this will help you guys. When I told Shannon that I wanted to attend this, Shannon said he did not want to go. It's not up his alley. It's not something he would be interested in or he thought he would be interested in. And I was like, babe, I know you're not going to want to go, but I want to go. Like, oh, man. So I went and I looked and checked how much the tickets were and did all of that research. And he was like, I'm not interested in it. So I did the research and then I sent him the link. I texted him link and I didn't say anything else about it. And he didn't say anything. So I don't know if it was the next day or a couple of days later, but I said, babe, did you see the link that I sent you? And you said, yeah, I already got the tickets. I don't want to go, but I got the tickets. You said that.
Right, I did say that.
And I was just like, thank you, babe. And that was that, right? So we got ready and he was looking all fly.
She told me how she wanted me to look. She told me what she wanted me to base wear.
I did.
Like she didn't tell me the whole fit. But she told me, hey, I want to see you in this.
Yep. Because I wanted us, because we don't dress alike a lot. And not that I want to do that all the time, but I really wanted us to be color coordinated. And I did not get any pushback. This is the pushback guy, right? I didn't get any pushback. And we went out. And
Shut out for no, I'm just giving you a little.
No, that's why, that's why I'm giving you. Come on. Do you hear what I'm saying? So, y'all, we got there. He loved it.
Absolutely had a great time.
The moral of the story. There are things that he's interested in that I'm not that much interested in. Things that I'm interested in, he's not that much interested in. But that doesn't mean we don't have to participate when our spouse asks us. And you just might be surprised.
And you just might be surprised. And look, it was right up my alley. I'm a debater. I like conversation and exchange, going back and forth and sharing ideas and counter ideas and all of that. And I did more than you did. Like you were not.
Yes.
You were like right. You were not that. You were there and having a good time.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But you were in your reserved,
I was laid back,
shy energy,
chill,
right? And I was in my extroverted, quote unquote, energy.
Because it was a taping, right, for a potential show, whatever, and so they get the audience involved. Mm-hmm. So they have their panel, but then they want the feedback from the audience, and they'll call on anybody like you don't know.
Right.
And so they'll call on you. Then it got to the point where you could raise your hand and then, you say something, whatever.
I was making faces.
Yeah, it was
like he need to say something because he not feeling what's going on.
Yeah. So let me give y'all a little history why dates are so important to help you feel connected and not like roommates. Past couple of weeks, Shannon and I have been feeling disconnected. And so we were talking about it and, frustrated about it. And, I had my way how I handle. Shannon has his way how he's handled. We're trying to come back and push through. Like, it's just this, right? And so we had a conversation that went pretty well. But we still felt empty. We knew something needed to change. There was a little bit of adjustment that we needed to make or whatever. But was it Monday we went on a date? Tuesday, Shannon says to me, right? So we had this conversation, I think it was Sunday. Tuesday, Shannon says to me, hey, I'm taking you out to a movie. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I didn't ask no questions. Usually I would ask, what movie are we going to see? I didn't ask anything.
She didn't ask a thing.
He ends up taking us to a movie that he didn't want to see in the first place. I brought the movie to him a couple of weeks back, showed him the trailer. He was like, I'm not interested in that.
I wasn't interested.
So I didn't even ask what movie we were going to because I thought we were going to see Equalizer.
Y'all better share this because somebody need to hear this. I'm just saying. Go ahead, babe.
I thought we were going to see Equalizer. So we get there and we go in to see The Creator. And I was like, oh my gosh. Y'all, just that event helped us to feel closer to one another. So that, like, for me, it just encouraged me to just be like, okay, Shirley, I know I have been neglecting him in certain areas and things of that nature, to be more loving. Physical touch is his thing. So I wanted to rub on him more and, which is what I typically do. And so, I'm being more intentional about that, pushing through whatever my fears and concerns are, assuming where you are, right? And then trying not to respond based off of my assumptions, right? Which is so crazy. That's why we shouldn't assume, because it causes certain internal dialogue.
You make an ass out of you and me, right?
Then it comes out and displays itself,
right?
And causes a mess. Yes,
the assness displays itself,
right? So, it just helped. We just really have been more connected this week than we have past couple of weeks, and then we go on a second date, right?
That's monumental.
That is monumental.
2 dates
we don't
in a
do
week.
2 dates, right? That really is monumental. And so I'm just like, ooh, and now I'm just like, ooh, that's my baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just coming back to the, like, ooh, look at my baby.
Then we went to church.
Which
is a thing she loves for us to be in spiritual spaces together.
Yes.
Right? So I'm just, and look, I didn't feel like going. I love E.T., but I was tired. It was just, I didn't feel like it. And she asked me, she gave me a prompt.
I did.
If you don't feel like going.
Because I was busted.
If you don't feel like going, I'm good with that. And I was like, no, I'm taking you as a man, right? As a leader of my home, I need to usher my wife into the presence of God. I need to be a part of facilitating. Now, it's her responsibility to, when she get there, connect. But I feel like it's my responsibility. And over our marriage, I hadn't been as when we were doing it regularly, it was more out of a sense of duty. That's what we did. We go to church on Saturdays. You go to church on Saturdays, and we have children, so we wanted to raise them up in a certain way. But as they got older and went on with their lives, I was like, I ain't got I don't have to really. But that's not that my goal. No, my role is to be able to lead you. Even though we are walking through this life together, somebody's got to take a leadership role in different ways.
Yes.
And my way, I believe, is spiritual. Although you do not have a problem, and it is accepted when you take the leadership role from a spiritual perspective as well. But it's just maybe it's traditional roles, gender roles, or whatever. I just feel like that's my responsibility, and I had the need to make sure that happened. And we had so it was like a week of recalibration, and it wasn't a conscious a recalibration. It was just like we knew that this space was between us, and we just did things to make sure that it was much less space.
And I will say this, because there have been times where we had tension, and then we've gone on dates and come back from the dates and still had tension. And that's because we just refuse to let go of our stance. Right? So when your partner is making an attempt to draw closer to you, you have to allow yourself give yourself the courage to open up, to receive the olive. Like we want things to look a certain way, and then it's okay. Like, well, no, you have to say sorry to me first. You didn't say like. It doesn't always have to look like that, right? Because everybody's wired differently, and so And my thing with you, and you've always been a person who's been willing to apologize, right? But for whatever reason, as of late, like the past couple of years, that looks a little differently. And I'll be like, dang, Negro, like, don't you think you need to apologize for that? But I realize for whatever reason, it seems to me you've gotten to a place where you're like, I'm just going to change the behavior. I'm going to make the change. I'm going to do more of whatever I need to do. Right? And not that you don't ever apologize, but it's like, well, do you want the words or do you want the actions if you had to choose? So I appreciate the actions. I appreciate you just putting your head down and just be like, okay, she said such and such. I need to change that.
If you had to say, for you, what helped to bring about the disconnection, what would you say it was? I think I know what it is, but you tell me what you.
The past couple.
Yeah. Before these just refocusing.
I don't know if it's just one thing or multiple things, but I will say this. I was at my wit's end week before last, and I was just like, oh gosh. So I went downstairs and I just started praying and talking to God, and I was like, God, please, like, whatever you have to do to Shannon, like, please, like, what is going on? Fix this. And the Holy Spirit immediately said to me, and I don't want to say this because I feel like you probably going to come back with that. But you better not come back with that. You better come back with whatever's in your head.
Okay. Speak
the Holy Spirit said to me, Shirley, part of Shannon's frustration is that you've neglected him. And I was just like, right? So I'm making it about you, even though you're in control of you. But God was showing me in this scenario. He's like, yeah, I can change Shannon, but you're neglecting him. So so much going on, and I have been dealing with some emotional fatigue, And not to make an excuse, but even in dealing with that, there's communication that needs to happen on my part, because I don't think you've never experienced this of me, and I'm not like out of it or anything like that, but you really never heard me like too much really complain about stuff emotionally.
Not at all. Not at all.
Right. And so I'm in a season where I really feel emotionally fatigued. And I don't know if you know how to deal with that or not. And so
I think I do, but it's what you need is not what I think you need.
You know, so I feel like that's just been, you know, the frustration, and it caused me to withdraw and then in turn neglect, you know, some of your needs. So that's what I'm thinking. What were your thoughts?
Well, one of the main things that helped for me to feel disconnected or and what have you was this, you know, over like I was like August and September were crazy work months for me. And one, I was out of town a lot. And so that I didn't feel, that's the most that we have been, I've been out of town in a very, very, very long time. So there was an adjustment there. And then I was in a lot of pain. And I just, you know, you get real weird when you're in pain. You get real nonsensical and you just don't care. And you get very apathetic because the only thing that you can focus on is the pain. So now I'm in pain. The person that usually helps me relieve or soothe the pain, because you know how you rub my back at night and stuff, none of that was there. And so it was just kind of stuff adding on top of stuff adding on top of stuff. So then anything that you did that I would have normally just brushed off was hyper. Was just, I just was just like, oh man, you don't care. You're not listening. You're not, you know, all of these different things I'm saying. And so then I rehearsed those narratives. And then the more I rehearse the narrative, the more I sink into a place of she doesn't care and I feel neglected. And you know how that goes with me. I will disconnect when I feel like I'm being mistreated. My mother would say, I eat shit with the chickens. Before I do thus and so. And before I allow somebody to make me feel like that, you know, I'll disconnect. And it happens that, you know, you started really kind of pushing, like, what is this? Why are you doing this? What is going on? Like these questions just kept coming and coming. So I couldn't avoid the questions. So when I was in my private space and in my private time, I'm asking myself the questions. What's going on with you? Why are you acting like this? Why are you treating her like this? Why do you feel this way? And the answers I didn't necessarily like. And so that's one of the reasons why I insisted on going on this juice feast. Because I had to get the pain under control. And if I didn't I was going to continue being miserable, and there weren't enough weekends away left for me to feel like that was what I needed. I didn't need to be away. I needed to not be in pain. And so, as my wife suggested, I listened to her. She was like, babe, go back to your juicing. Back when I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, I did a lifestyle change and I did a juice. Then I called it a juice fast. Now what I call it a juice feast. And I started just drinking cold pressed juices, 4 to 5, anywhere from 4 to 6 cold pressed juices, 4 times a day. And my pain, you tell them.
You're feeling so much better. So much better.
So much better. And then, do you think my attitude has gotten better?
Yo, your attitude has definitely gotten better. Definitely gotten better.
So for you people that have spouses that are living with chronic pain, right? Try to be a part of the solution for the pain, because it's very hard to be nice living through pain. It's you should not be nice at all. Period.
No, it is.
Right? But it's very difficult when you're dealing with chronic pain. And I could do something about it. I did something about it, and man, I've been feeling amazing.
Yes. Another thing,
but I want to speak to this idea, because like recently we heard about an older couple that that were sleeping in separate, like they like sleeping in separate beds. They really more like roommates than anything. And this topic is really about intimacy.
It's about intimacy.
It's really about intimacy, and we have developed somewhat of a finer definition of intimacy. We do believe that affection is a part of intimacy, as we will discuss over the next 10 minutes, right? But what we feel is a closer definition, a more fine-tuned definition of intimacy, is the ability to share your heart with your partner, good, bad, or indifferent, whatever it is, and that sharing not be judged, complained about. You're trying to debate it, you're trying to change it, you're trying to do something other than listen to it and absorb it. And then for me to be able to do that with Shirley, and for her to be able to do that with me, that is the thing that draws us closer. It's not just, the touch is very, very important, and that does draw us close and bond us. Sexual intimacy, very, very, sexual intercourse, very important, and it grows us together and it bonds us. But if we can't talk to each other, if I don't like you and you don't like me, that's a bad combination, man. And people will stay together. Maybe, the millennials won't stay together. The millennials is like, deuces, I'm out. But, Gen X and baby boomers, we'll be out. Well, we'll stick around, because that's what we saw our parents do. We'll just stick in there and be miserable. But it doesn't have to be that way.
It's so interesting you say that, because, now we're in an age where you hear people say, women are the ones leaving the relationship now. And it's so interesting, because we are the ones leaving the relationship, but it's not in a sinister way, but it's said in a sinister way. Like, see, men ain't going nowhere. We're saying, well, yeah, you're not going anywhere because it's more comfortable for you. But that doesn't mean you don't have the same issue that your wife has. Women are leaving the relationship because they're like, I don't have to continue staying in a very unhealthy environment where I am being, abused, misused, disrespected, all of that. We're just roommates. You're doing your thing. You're not thinking nothing about me. That's why women are leaving the relationship, because now they have the courage to leave the relationship. Not because...
And they have the means.
And they have the means to leave the relationship.
They don't have to put up with that foolishness.
They don't have to put up with it.
They do not have to put up with it.
Right?
So,
but we want you guys to understand that there's always something you can do.
It's always something
you could do. You keep looking for your partner to do something, to make the change, to be the change maker in the situation, to make the adjustment, to see what's wrong with you and do something about it.
Yes.
But you have to reverse that. You have to say to yourself, because I'm the only one that I can control, where can I make the adjustment? What can I do? How can I add value to my spouse?
Yes. That is the cornerstone. If you want to know the cornerstone of Marriage Inc., even though we have a philosophy about taking business concepts and using them, business success concepts, and using them to in relationships, the same concepts. Yep. That's where it came from. But the cornerstone of our coaching, if you ever come to us, if you ever come to an event that we do, a conference, a mastermind, or anything of that nature, if you read our books, if you are in an individual counseling session, or coaching session rather, the one thing that you will hear that is a common thread is you can't do nothing about your partner. The only thing that you can control is yourself. Yes. So what are you doing to change your situation? To bring healing to your situation, to bring a change or a different way of thinking to your situation? What are you doing? And if you're not doing anything, you need to shut up. keep your mouth shut, put your head down, and ask your spiritual center to reveal to you what needs to be done so that you could be a better partner in your marriage.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that made me want to have this discussion is because there was a husband and wife who were struggling, having this feeling like roommates. And she was so irritated because she would be doing like, they have a couple of kids. So she has a baby on her hip. She's trying to cook. The husband is sitting down in the living room or wherever watching TV.
Come on, man.
And they got into an argument because she asked him, well, she didn't ask him for help, like, hey, honey, can you help me? But she was frustrated and was like, I'm trying to do something. They ended up getting into an argument. Mm-hmm. And at the end of it, he was like, all you had to do was ask me. Mm. That's a roommate.
That's a roommate.
I remember having a roommate. Mm-hmm. And I would say, hey, do you think that you can sweep the floor and I'll do this? That's a roommate. Mm-hmm. That's not right. And even in that, listen, even in that, because there was a level of intimacy and care and concern with certain roommates I had, mm-hmm. we partnered together so mm-hmm. that we didn't put the weight on the other person. Mm-hmm. We mm-hmm. made sure that it was like, as much as possible, equal distribution.
Yes.
And
yes.
I didn't have to ask my roommate, and my roommate didn't have to ask me. We saw something needed to be done,
and we
did it. And you have to get to the point where you do what needs to be done. Stop putting your spouse in a position to have to keep. Your spouse shouldn't have to ask you. All you have to do is ask. No. Your spouse should not have to ask you to participate in your household.
Mm-mm. Not at all.
That is just so ass backwards.
There is a word there's two words, but I'm going to give you one of those two words that will guarantee your success in your marriage if you utilize this word. And that word is initiative. If you take the initiative means doing what needs to be done, seeing that something needs to be done and doing it without anybody asking you. Yep. You are taking the initiative. Yep. If you see the trash needs to go out, take it out.
Take it out.
If you see the dishes need to be washed, it doesn't matter whose turn it is to wash it, whose responsibility is to wash it. It's dirty dishes it doesn't matter who used the dishes. But see, people are so hell bent on checking for the amount that you're giving or the amount that you're doing or the amount that you're contributing, that they are micromanaging it to the point that they can't get anything accomplished.
You know what else people are bent on?
What's that?
People are bent on labels. And because we are so married to labels and this whole traditional, non-traditional, masculine, I'm so sick of that talk. The masculine energy and the feminine energy, the traditional energy. If you see something that needs to get done, do it. Period. If you see, like Shannon said, you see a dish that needs to wash the dish, wash the clothes, do whatever needs to be done so that we can ease each other's loads.
Slow down for a second. You giving Facebook and TikTok too much game. Like, this is too much. We got to let y'all go in a minute, but we want you to come on over to My Marriage is Dope podcast on YouTube so you can get the tail end of this conversation. And as we move into Ask Coach Shannon and Cheryl, the Q&A segment, you can get in on some of these questions and actually ask questions. But you got to come over there to do that. So go on. You can log off now if you're on TikTok or if you're on Instagram. You can log off now. Come on over to My Marriage is Dope on YouTube. You will see that we are live. My Marriage is Dope podcast on YouTube. You'll see that we are live. Tap in. Subscribe, and then go ahead and jump into the live so that you can be a part of the Q&A and the rest of this conversation.
And we have some good Q&A questions, some having to do with singles. A single person asked a really good question that will really help you guys in your dating process. Ooh. So even the singles,
singles in the house. Everybody want us to. Y'all got anything for singles? Y'all got any merch for singles? You got?
I know. Well,
hey, we about to get into some single conversation, right?
See y'all over at YouTube.
Hey, listen. I guess that means we going. We out of here. So see y'all over at My Marriage is Dope podcast. Peace and blessings, IG and TikTok.
But yeah, we have to get away from the labels, because the labels are keeping us stuck. Mm-hmm. Like, you're supposed to do this and you're supposed to do that. Mm-hmm. Everything is not about labels. Mm-hmm. Like, last night we were talking and the guy asked about, should it be 50-50 or 100-100?
That was Coach Ken.
Coach Ken. And, you said it should be 100-100. So, I mean, technically, that would be a label of a traditional man. And mm-hmm. we run our marriage from a traditional construct. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But we're not so stuck where you're like, I'm not going to cook. I can't do a dish. Now, you don't want me pulling trash and things of that nature. Right. We have boys.
And you don't open your door. You don't. Right. Chivalry don't have nothing to do with none of that.
Right.
Yeah, like you have fully capable of opening your own door. But I see it as my job when dealing with women mm-hmm. to be chivalrous.
Yes.
If you don't like that and you think that's like, you're a feminist and you want to open your own door and all that, hey, listen, I don't have a problem. I'll step back and allow you to do that. If you want to open the door for me, I'll do that. But for me in my house, for this one right here, she don't touch no doors unless I'm not there, or if I'm not getting out the car. Now, I'm not a chauffeur. I don't just jump out and run around and she's going in the store. I don't do that. Yeah. But if we're getting out of the car together, she knows that's my responsibility.
But it's things like that keep the connection with us. Mm-hmm. You understand? Like,
because you feel special.
Because you feel special. So whatever it is for you guys, and if you guys need to have the conversation, if you and your spouse need to have the conversation of, man, what makes you feel special? What makes you feel connected to me? Mm-hmm. What does that look like for you? That's the question you ask. Mm-hmm. And whatever they say, that's what you do. Mm. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this, when it comes to physical intimacy, that is very important to keeping the connection. Mm-hmm. Because if we're not hugging, kissing, of course, not having sex, but let's just take sex off the table, mm-hmm. right? Because that's a given. But a lot of people have sex and they're like, man, we have a lot of sex, but we're not hugging and kissing mm-hmm. and holding each other. Mm-hmm. That is so intimate, so mm-hmm. intimate. I'm gonna tell you something that helped a young lady. She was talking about her husband goes from 0 to 100 very quick. Mm-hmm. Good man, like a really good man. Mm-hmm. But when he gets angry, he's just angry. And she used to match that energy. Mm-hmm. And so I asked, I said, well, what do you do now? And she said, I'll just, be quiet, just let him have his thing or whatever. I said, this is what I want you to do. This is the work of marriage. I said, the next time he is angry, I want you to go to him and I want you to straddle him and just hold him and just hug him and just speak life into him and kiss on him and love on him. Mm-hmm. And she was just like blown. She was like, nobody has ever said anything like that to me. She said, that is deep. She said, I can do that. And I said, I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, especially if he's a good man, I said, I wouldn't be surprised if you told me he broke down and cried. Because the anger is coming from somewhere, and you may have sparked the anger, but it's something so much deeper.
Mm-hmm. So much deeper.
And to have that space where you showed that side of you, and your spouse immediately comes and doesn't abandon you, doesn't reject you, doesn't match the energy, and just loves on you in that way.
That girl good. She good. Oh my goodness, you good. That's good.
He will be putty in your hands. That's the safest space for him. Right? This is how you keep connections.
And remember, we talked about it last night at the event. We talked about the neurochemical processes that are going on. This oxytocin being released, and you know, it is a necessary process for bonding.
It is.
It's how kids bond with their parents.
It is.
And it's an absolute must. It's an absolute must. So let me. So I want you to talk about like a couple of things. Like I want you to talk about the obvious about seeking coaching or counseling.
Yeah.
And then this thing about traveling together, because you just got your passport.
Yes.
And so what do you think and how do you think that is going to play out and be important from a standpoint of us feeling like partners and not roommates?
Well, now, you know the thing about us, we're going to keep it a buck, right? So I was talking to my girlfriend, the one who's here visiting this weekend, and she had just went to Dubai and was talking about going to Italy. And then she said to me, she said, we need to book a trip, go to Italy, have a girls trip or whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be dope. She said, but would you probably want to go with Shannon? And I said, you know what? I want to go with Shannon. That is my first choice. I said, but my husband is kind of funny when it comes to traveling. So I'm excited that I have my passport. But I wish I was more excited that you wanted to go certain places that I wanted to go. So I don't know what that's going to look like for us. So that's, hey, I want to go to the motherland. You ain't trying to go to nobody's motherland. Even though you've been there a gazillion times and you're about to go next week. You're going for work, but you don't want to be there. Right? So
I do want to be there. And we're going to go on trips.
Okay. Well, I'm excited.
I mean, what'd you see this past week?
Yeah, that is what I saw this past week.
Hey, listen, I'll be 60 next year. I'm not getting no younger. I'm not getting no years back. There's no refund on the years or whatever. We might as well go, and this week has shown me I might like it. I enjoyed The Creator, the movie. More probably than she did, because it was really sci-fi and really had a great plot twist, and it was a good movie. I wouldn't have wanted to go. So,
Well, I'm excited.
because what did I say to you? I said you picked a good movie. So as long as we picked the right country in Africa, I'm not trying to be around the kids with the flies and all that. I'm not trying to. I don't want to do that.
The baby, I want to bring one back.
See, it's all of that, right? Let's just go look from afar. I don't want to go to a safari. I'm not interested in that. So you can do that, and if you get mauled by a gorilla or orangutan.
No, but
really,
because we're coming up on. I will say this about traveling.
Yeah.
The reason why traveling helps with the connection is because it's a new experience.
Yes.
You understand? And it's so funny because what people love about affairs it's that new feeling, the butterflies and things of that nature.
Right.
And what they dread about their marriage is the same old thing over and over.
Yes.
Right? And so in order for you, like the butterflies aren't going to last in a marriage. That's just not going to happen. But you can create new experiences so you get that feeling of, oh my gosh,
so it keeps the butterflies coming.
Another.
It keeps it coming.
Right. Like periodically we have that moment of euphoria and just that connection, that deep connection. And it takes us back to when we first, met and we're going on dates and things of that nature. So traveling, it just helps with creating new experiences.
We're going to create you some new experiences.
Come on.
All right.
It's so many things. Just like I said, the trust and transparency.
The open
communication. Growing together, creating goals together, and then following through. That helps with the whole intimacy of we're more than roommates.
Like we've been doing this, being more healthy with our eating. Like that's a goal that we have together. I mean, it's not necessarily a fun goal or thing like that, but it's something that helps us to stay focused on
yes.
holding each other accountable, but in a way that, it doesn't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, let's
bring them out, bring them out, bring them out.
Bring those questions out for this amazing, the most amazing segment of this podcast, which is we need some kind of some music, video or something to introduce this segment, because it's something that I like a lot. So we're going on to ask Coach Shannon and Shirley the Q&A segment of my Marriage is Dope podcast. Let's get it.
All right. My fiance and I have broken up 2 times now. We know we love each other so much, and we are sure that we want to spend our life together. But just like everyone, we have some areas we don't see eye to eye on. My family is telling me to not move forward with the wedding. I believe over time we will be okay. Do you think this is a red flag or no? Well, you already broke up 2 times, right? So I definitely don't think you should get back together with unresolved issues, because that's what happens.
Well, they're already back together. They just broke up twice in the relationship.
So if you got together and the issue is unresolved, that is, number one, that is a problem. But why do you keep breaking up? Like, that's what I would like to know. Like what is it's twice, but still, it's something where your family is saying, don't move forward with the wedding.
Right.
And it's not just because it's issues, because everybody has issues.
I think people just don't have the tools nor the patience these days. I think that combination of tools and patience, right? So they do the thing. It's easy to quit a job instead of learning how to become a better communicator. It is so much easier to walk out of the restaurant and never come back, instead of having a conversation with the manager that will help them grow and help you have a better experience when you go again, right? So even though when you're seeing red flags that are very, very serious red flags, no, should you move forward with that? No. But you should, as an individual, be focusing on gaining the kinds of tools you need to navigate challenging circumstances and the challenges in a relationship, because you're going to have them when you get married. I don't care if you have the best chemistry in the world, you are the best of friends in the world, y'all have never had an argument, you're going to get into marriage, life is going to life, and then now you're going to feel like, what do I do and how do we navigate this space? Especially if you haven't taken the time to learn each other and grow and things of that nature. So I don't see this as a red flag. I see it as an opportunity for you all to continue taking time. You don't have to rush into marriage, but take the time for you both to mature and grow.
So 2 things that I see. The first one is, if the issue never changes, can you live like that for the rest of your life? Can you live with that issue for the rest of your life?
That's good.
The whole purpose of dating is to see if who this person has shown you, can you live with them if they stay the same, right?
So if they stay exactly the same.
And so you really need to be honest about that, whatever the issue is. The second thing is, stop talking to your family. Because if you move forward with this gentleman and your family has told you not to, they already have a skewed view of him and the marriage, which is not going to be helpful. Because if you go to them again once you're married with the issue, it might be, see, I told you so. You shouldn't have married him in the first place. He ain't no good, blah, blah. Planting seeds. And those negative seeds, especially when it comes to family, we stay hold of family. They keep planting negative seeds, but a lot of times we don't let those family members go. And we still will share information because we feel like maybe they'll say something that will help them, or we value them for the role that they play in our life. Not thinking from a healthy standpoint of, I know they love me, but they're not feeding me good information. So this is not going to benefit your marriage to continue to talk to the family members who are telling you to leave. You just got to keep them out of it. Guys, go get third-party help. Go get third-party help before you cross over to marriage.
And third-party help means a coach, a counselor, books that you can read together, especially if you both identify that there's a problem. Like there's some good books that you can read. A lot of times folks don't really even need us. If they would take a good book, read that book, and then implement what they learned in the book, they would automatically begin to see results positively in their relationship. So,
all right. Hi, Marriage Inc. I am having a hard time breaking up with the woman I am seeing, and I am married. I started seeing her in 2021 just as a way to go where I felt seen and appreciated. I didn't expect it to go so far, and I really do want to work on my marriage. I finally can see my wife is trying, and I've been so caught up in this other relationship. I feel tormented. I tried breaking it once before, and she threatened to expose me. Now I'm scared. Please, please help me on what to do without hurting my wife.
well, you're going to hurt your wife.
Ooh, brother, yes you are.
The reason why you're going to hurt your wife is because you have aligned yourself with someone who really didn't care about you in the first place. And all of that, all of the behind the scenes and the clandestine interactions and the sexual intimacy and the discovery and the newness and all that. But she has really shown you who she is just by virtue of the fact that she said that she would out you.
Yep. She's self-serving.
Right? So you already are in a situation where the person doesn't care about you. So you might as well go ahead and come clean with your wife and then be able to accept where that coming clean takes you and then be able to not be held hostage by this woman. Because this hostage that she is holding you by that's going to be worse hell. So now you're not even, the intrigue and stuff is not even there anymore. You just going over and just sitting there in her presence, not even wanting to be there because you now know who the woman she is.
Babe, he says, I feel tormented. You will continue, that torment will continue to increase. You think you'll feel torment when you tell your wife, and you will.
It will be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
It will be, but trust me, in time, you guys can move and grow through this. But staying where you are, it will only get worse for everybody involved. And
You think it's a game?
I wish there was a magic wand, right? But the reality is you really had no choice but to tell your wife because she threatened to tell her.
You're laughing. I'm
Don't
not playing.
let
I'm
your
dead
wife
serious.
find that out through somebody else. Go ahead and lay it all out there and tell your wife. And definitely get a coach or a counselor to help you guys work through this.
Get fired when these bitches
Matter
one
of fact,
time.
get the coach or a counselor before you tell your wife.
Come on.
Yep,
Get
sorry,
fired when
bro.
these bitches one time, man.
But y'all can work through it. Listen, y'all, you know our story. We've been there, done it. You can
We've
work
been
through
there
it. You just
and done
have to
it.
be willing.
You have to have the courage.
You have to have the courage, and I know it's scary. I know
You
it
have
is.
to see this as an invader in your home. Are you going to sit there in your home and not say anything and not do anything when there's an intruder in your home? No. Hey, something might happen to you, but you're not going to sit there and let something happen to your family.
Yeah,
And that's you not saying anything is you sitting there letting something happen to your family.
yeah.
And so I don't believe that that's the man that you want to be. You found yourself in an unfortunate circumstance.
Yeah.
Man up, sit down, have the tough conversation, series of conversations with her, and then go ahead and exorcise this woman out of your life.
Yes. My husband and I keep doing the makeup sex and not addressing the real issues. I want to talk, and he says we just need to be intimate and get close. Why isn't this working for me? Is something wrong with me? I feel like now I'm starting to become more resentful because it's not helping the problems, but he walks around as if it's helped him. And I'm almost to the point I barely want to have sex anymore. Now I'm feeling guilty for denying him.
Before we answer this question, make sure that you are sharing this with somebody, because somebody is experiencing exactly this right here. Make sure, jump in these comments. Let us know, are you experiencing anything closely remotely associated with these questions? Do you know anybody? And then make sure that you're subscribing to the channel so you can get this good game, right? Because this is some good stuff. Listen, you might disagree with me on this.
Okay.
Right? But I want to say, keep having sex, lady. Keep having sex. Just move when you have the conversation to after he busted a nut. There is some frustration that gets relieved. Men are much softer. Typically, if he loves you and he's connected to you, but he just is challenged by you, after you have relieved that tension, you both, but him specifically, has relieved that tension, he is much more open to having that conversation. Your concern, her problem, in my opinion, is timing. I bet you any amount of money, she wants to talk first thing in the morning, or she wants to be the last thing they talk about when they go to sleep. And that's the absolute worst time to have a conversation. First thing in the morning, people are hungry. They trying to get their wits about them. And then at the end of the day, right? I say this, but you have agreed with me. I believe that you should never have any kind of serious discussions on an empty stomach.
Oh, yeah.
It is just not good. You should have some lasagna or something after you, no, right? You should not have serious conversations and be hungry. Because there's a thing called hypoglycemia. And two of those signs and symptoms of hypoglycemia is the inability to focus and concentrate and irritability. And so the possibility of having a substantive, meaningful conversation about the challenges that they're experiencing will decrease exponentially if either one of you or both of you are hungry when you're trying to have that conversation. So diffusing, make sure he's fed. You know, it could be going out to a restaurant. It could be going out to get some appetizers. And look, one of the best things to do, best times to have serious conversations, take your husband out for ice cream. You ain't never heard nobody have an argument over ice cream. What happened? Oh, they was eating ice cream and then somebody shot somebody. No, you never heard that. It doesn't happen. And so you have to pick those time frames that it is more conducive to have those more serious, substantive conversations.
Holistically, I agree with you. I agree with you holistically. One of the things we teach couples when it comes to communicating is that environment is so important. We don't understand that. And a lot of times when we're in our own personal space, I mean, not a lot of times, every time when we're in our own personal space, our hair is down. So we are freer, right? We're not concerned about the external. And so we act out in ways that we wouldn't necessarily act out in public. And so that's why it is important to go outside, like Shannon said, go get some ice cream, go get some coffee and sit there and discuss. And, you know, that's a whole thing in itself, like how to have the conversation, right? You cannot be...
be hypocritical.
Hypocritical.
You can't be pointing the finger.
Why are you such and such? All you do is such and such. I'm just tired of this. And
stick away from those declarative statements. You always, you never, you got to steer clear from those types of ways of communicating.
Yeah, just tell them.
You got to be more savvy with your. It's not that you want to communicate; it's that you're not a good communicator.
And let me say this: if he's not a good communicator, try the journal. Right? You get a book. It's called the Emotional Journal. Just because you guys are writing down how you feel, and see if he'll talk that way. You know, let him express himself. If he has an issue with you, let him express it there. And then your rebuttal, you write it. You write the rebuttal. But make sure you don't make it this argumentative thing. Make sure it's more affirming and validating. If you don't agree, ask a question about it, opposed to making a statement about it. Ask a question for understanding, right? You don't agree. What don't you agree about it? And ask a question so that you could get understanding on it. And as you guys are writing, you may see that he expresses himself more. Because I don't know what he's running from. I don't know if he's running from your reaction, if he's running from how you talk to him, right? Like, he feels like clearly the sex must be good, I would imagine, where he's like, well, let's have sex to connect.
Right.
That's the good thing about us. Right? And so he's scared to communicate with you. There's a reason for that.
That's good, baby.
Right? And so that's the responsibility that you have to take. Sit back and really, like, go inward and be like, how do I communicate with him? And listen, the way you communicate with him, would you be okay with that same communication? And be honest with yourself.
Right. You got to take a deep look at how your techniques.
Yes.
And your approach.
Yes.
And take it on as a challenge. Not you have to, it's like the teacher. Don't give up because the teacher can't get to the student. Try to find out how the student learns, and then teach the student based from their learning, how they receive information.
Yes. Not
based on your just, this is the way you got to say it, and it's your way or the highway.
Yes. This next one, somebody just said, can you please share some green flags? Right? And I liked that question because...
that's very interesting.
That's a good question, because we're always talking about the red flags.
The red flags.
But it's like, okay, well, what should I look for? Like, you keep telling us what not to look for. Everybody in the relationship world talking about the red flag. Right. What are some green flags? Some things to look for.
One of the things I could say is, if someone can accept you for who you are, even with your faults, not necessarily say to placate to your weaknesses and your frailties and where you need to grow, but can see that you are a work in process, and that they give you the room and the grace to grow. That's a green flag for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely
that's a hella green flag.
Or if they don't like what they see, and they're willing to let the relationship go, that's actually a green flag, because they have the courage to say, this isn't working for me.
Right. That's a green flag.
So I love
But
that.
Is that person a keeper?
I'm just saying though.
But see,
green flag. What that goes to, another green flag, being very honest in spite of how you may feel about what they're saying.
Right. So the honesty, right.
Right. That's being honest. Right. That's being true to themselves.
Right.
That's a green flag. Somebody being true to themselves. Right.
I like that.
A lot of times, listen, if I was talking to somebody and this is a red flag, but we're going to go to the green flag. Somebody, when you share what you like, they don't say the same. I want that too. To me, that's a red flag. So a green flag is whatever you share, and they say, oh, okay, well, this is what I aspire to. This is what I like. These are the principles that I live my life off. And some of them may mirror yours, but when you hear different things, you know that's them. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like 9 times out of 10, because a lot of times, that's why I tell people, when you date, don't put it all out there, because now the person knows what you're looking for, and then they come back with, I like that too. They can tailor make. They're
going to tailor make themselves.
They're going to say the same thing you say, like, oh, we just is so aligned. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, doc, nah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
You're a good coach.
Oh, thank you. You are too, babe. Somebody who does not compete with you in an unhealthy way. That is definitely.
Bitch, you can get it. Right? Yeah, but it's like you got sometimes Like when we play spades, I really prefer for us to play spades together because you're very, very competitive. And so I want you on my team because I don't want that contention between us.
Right.
That would be unhealthy. I would be looking at you like, okay, that's enough now.
That would be unhealthy. Yes. Hey, that's true.
What else?
Someone who does not overwhelm you with love. But we heard the term love bombing.
Oh, love bombing.
And a lot of people, especially women, we get caught up in that because it feels good and we want to be loved, man. We want to be loved so bad that we think that that's a good thing. It's not a good thing. You don't want him to just fall head over heels for you. You don't, y'all.
You want him to have a little discipline.
You want him to have discipline. You want him to have a level head. You want him to be able to just sit back and observe and assess you.
Hey, a red flag. Well, this is a red flag. We talk about green flags, but I can't live without you. That's a red flag, right? Because life goes on.
Life goes on,
and I can live without her. I don't want to live without her. But I'm gonna be all. God's got me, and if something happened to me, God's got her.
Yes.
And so this idea that that comes along with the love carpet bombing, just bomb after bomb. I can't live without you. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. You're this. You're that. I got. It's exhausting.
And this is for dating. This isn't marriage. This is for dating. These are the green flags. Another thing is that a green flag is that they listen with intent to help you, to support you, to encourage you, to build you up, to give you constructive criticism and advice. Because a lot of times people are just listening just to respond and to tell you what they think and how they feel and what they need from you. Completely miss what you said. And so if I miss what you said, that means that I'm not doing anything about the issue that you have with me. And so when you share your concerns, that they are truly listening, purposeful listening, right? They want to meet your need.
Purposeful listening. That's what you said. They're not just hearing you.
They're not just hearing
you. And,
right. And
right.
It's
but
like
they're
this.
really, and you can cue in on if somebody is really listening by the questions that they ask, right? The responses that they give.
Yeah.
Are they looking at your titties, right? Are you just talking about? Are they just talking about themselves and they don't even let you get a word in edgewise? Like you want somebody when they give you space, they give the conversation space to breathe and for you all to interact. That is someone that you want to keep your eye on because it lets you know that in the future they're going to what you feel and think and your ideas are going to be important.
That what you said was key. You gave that red flag, but the green flag is that somebody you're with someone who is asking you questions about you. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we just want to tell people all about us.
Yes.
But when you have somebody who really genuinely like they're like drawn, they want to know about you, like your likes and your desires and your concerns and your family and how you grew up. What's important to you. That's you want to there's a difference between an interview and an interrogation. You want somebody that is a good interviewer that really makes you think and makes you process and delves deep into the story of you. That's what a good interviewer do. Yeah.
An interrogator is just trying to get information that so they can lock you into something. That's an interrogation, and you want to steer clear from interrogators. Is that all the Q&A?
That's it, the Q&A.
Wow, this has been good. And the time flew.
It did, babe.
The time flew. Listen, we appreciate you joining us. For this edition, I think this is episode 11 of My Marriage is Dope podcast.
Is it episode 11?
Yeah, it's episode 11. I have been your host, Shannon, Coach Shannon, Big Shan, whatever you want to call me, AKA. And then I've been joined by the beautiful and wise and wonderful and funny and goofy Coach Cheryl, Shirley Perry Austin. And man, make sure that you are subscribing to this channel. Make sure that we didn't have a lot of comments today, but that's fine. You know, folks were just listening.
I was wondering, was it working?
And staying engaged. Yes. And because we did get one comment that someone caught us live and they were happy about it.
Oh.
And so thank you for joining us. It has been our pleasure, our privilege, and we want to keep bringing you unfiltered, raw, real conversation, and just really let you into our lives and allow us to pour into you and add value. Anything you want to say to the people?
Yep. Remember, DM us or email us at info@marrageinc.us your questions for the October and November episodes. And stay connected.
Stay connected everywhere at My Marriage or at Marriage Inc. You can also DM us questions on TikTok or on Instagram, or not TikTok. But on Instagram, you can DM us questions there, and we will make sure that it makes we keep cataloging them, and it's gonna make it. So send your questions in. All right.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Peace.